Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we're gonna rate your updated drafts. Right, so of course, if you do enjoy this video, please help me out and give this video a like and subscribe as well if you are new around here. Okay, so as per usual, we're gonna use Fantasy Football Hub alongside the ratings that I'm gonna give, because Fantasy Football Hub does have this tool that helps us to rate your drafts, give a percentage to it, and also predict the points that you would get in game week 1 and also from game week 1 to game week 8 just beside me as well. Right, so if you guys are interested, link is in the description. Alright, so let's take a look at this draft. Right, I've chosen 4 drafts today, and the reason why I've picked them out is because they are interesting drafts. Right, so the first one is this triple Liverpool and City draft, right, given by Oliver on Instagram. Right, I give it a rating of 7 upon 10. Right, and let's take a look why. So straight off the bat, we see Trent, Robertson, and Salah, and also we see Cancelo, Walker, and Mahrez. Right, so for the Liverpool triple up, it's pretty standard, right? It's either you're gonna go for Robertson or Diaz as that third Liverpool pick, right? But for now, after the Community Shield, a lot of us are flocking to Robertson because some of us are thinking that Diaz may not be as good of a pick as we thought he would be, you know. So Trent, Robertson, and Salah seems to be the more favorable Liverpool triple up right now. Right, so that is in this draft, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then if you take a look at this Manchester City, there's Cancelo, Walker, and Mahrez. Right, so Cancelo and Walker, I do feel like they are nailed. So if you want to double up on City defense, then I think these are good options as well. But if you take a look at Mahrez, he's someone that initially before the Community Shield, I did think that he was one of the better 8 million picks. But after the Community Shield, we kind of solidified our thinking that his minutes would definitely be managed together with the rise of Alvarez after he scored, right? Pep may give more minutes to him as well. And on top of that, there's Foden as well, who kind of played some minutes in the Community Shield. So overall, there are 4 midfielders who would probably rotate. So there's Foden, Alvarez, Mahrez, and Grealish. So I don't really like the sound of that, because that could mean that Mahrez would have his minutes managed, and that's not what we want, right? So in general, don't really like this Mahrez pick after the Community Shield and solidifying our thoughts on him, right? So as for the rest of the team, right, Raya, Zinchenko, Neto, Jesus, and Kane, I think they are pretty template, right? Zinchenko may be the only one who's not as high of an effective ownership as others, but I still do feel like he is a good pick at 5 mil, right? Could be out of position as well, so that's a plus. Right, so let's take a look at Fantasy Football Hub's rating of it. There's 88%. The predicted points in Game Week 1 is 65. And from game week 1 to game week 8, this team is predicted to get 500 points, right? So that's pretty decent, right? If you take the average of that over the 8 game weeks, it is higher than 60. So that's always the benchmark that I kind of use. If you have above 60 points every game week, that's probably a good score, right? So in general, pretty happy with this team. Just that it is heavy on the big teams, right? So if they don't perform, then definitely we would take a hit, right? Apart from that, 7 upon 10 for this team. So the next draft we have, I've called it the 4-4-2 template. It's provided by Philip on Instagram. And basically, I really like this team because it is as template as can get for the 4-4-2, right? The only player that I would say may not be as template is Cash, right? Some of us may be going for Trippier instead. He is kind of the more favorable pick. But apart from that, everyone else is pretty template, right? Especially the outfielders. So the only difference I would say is the premium keeper in Ederson, right? So I'm okay with premium keepers this season because they're 5.5 mil. But something that we do have to consider about the premium keepers is that if we do go for them, right, we are locking up about 1 mil in there. We probably won't want to make a transfer of our keeper during the season, right? So unless we wildcard, of course, right? But using regular transfers, I don't think we want to use it on our keeper, and that's kind of the reason why I wouldn't really want to go for a premium keeper, because what if the case comes up where I need to use that extra 1 mil to maybe upgrade one of my outfielders, right? Then that kind of leaves me stuck there as well, right? Because I would have to waste a transfer on a goalkeeper in order to allow me to make that upgrade in my outfielder, right? So all in all, I know there are people who are still backing the premium keeper choice just because of the stability of the points, right? So that's a fair argument as well, right? But in general, for the rest of the team, the structure is really the 4-4-2 template. As even on the bench, Neco Williams, Andreas, and Archer, these are also the template bench players, right? So really like this draft, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, right? But you take a look at Fantasy Football Hub, it's given a rating of 97%. One of the highest ratings I've ever seen, right? If you take a look at the predicted points for game week 1, 67 points, right? And an incredible 512 points predicted for the template from game week 1 to game week 8. I mean, there's a reason why the template is the template, because they are predicted to score a lot of points based on the makeup of this 4-4-2 team, right? So in general, I do feel like if we want to kind of go safe at the start of the season to take lesser risks, then this is definitely one of the drafts we can consider. So the next draft we're going to look at, I've called it Against the Norm. It's given by Tommy on Twitter. And basically, it really goes against the norm, right? Up front, in the midfield and the attack, it's gone for the really premium picks, right? De Bruyne, Salah, Kane, Jesus, and Havertz. Really strong front five. But if you take a look at the defense, it's really taken a hit because of going for all these very strong midfield and forward players, right? James, Tomiyasu, Justin Mings, and Trippier aren't a very strong backline, right? You can argue that at these price points, you can go for better options, like maybe Tomiyasu to a Johnny. But basically, no matter what, I don't think this team makeup would be able to afford the premium defenders like Cancelo, Trent, Robbo, who I feel are very important players in the defense as well, right? They have been proven time and time again that they get clean sheets, they get attacking returns, and quite consistently as well, right? So the premium defenders I feel are kind of a must, and that's why, because we need to go for them, we would have to take sacrifices in the midfield and the attack, right? So this team really doesn't have that good of a balance, but it does give us an idea of how the defense would really take a hit if we just go for all those outfield players, right? So try to prioritize getting your essential players in first, right? And one of them should definitely be Trent, right? Cancelo maybe not as essential as Trent, right? But Trent definitely should be there, right? But essentially, going for such a strong midfield and front line would definitely take a hit on our defense. So try to balance out the funds and also allow your team to kind of have some breathing space, right? Because this is really midfield and forward heavy, right? So you would face some issues if you want to make some changes in your defense to maybe upgrade 4.5 defender to maybe a 6 or 7 mil defender. Then you would definitely have to kind of downgrade your attacker. There's 2 transfers there already, so lack of flexibility as well, right? So basically, this draft kind of goes against the norm, but it's good to kind of see how it looks like. Right, so rating is 6 out of 10, right? If you take a look at Fantasy Football Hub, it's given 85% rating, 62 predicted points in game week 1, but its game week 1 to game week 8 point prediction is really low at 447, right? The other drafts we kind of look at all had above 500, right? So that's where we kind of see this tool come into effect, where the predicted points of this team over the long run from game week 1 to game week 8 isn't that good, right? So probably because of the very weak defense in this team as well, right? So Tommy, I do advise that we kind of improve the defense, and that would probably mean taking a hit to kind of bring down some of the premium picks, right? But definitely a greater balance would be needed for this draft. So the next draft we have is the Threemium draft, and I really like this draft by XG Merchant 1 on Twitter, right? And the reason is because I'm going to go for these 3 premiums as well if I was going to go for a Threemium draft, right? And in this similar makeup of a 4-4-2 formation, right? So let's take a look at the team makeup. There's Raya in goal, right? No problems with that at 4.5 mil, and we probably have to go for a 4.5 mil keeper if we are going to go for a Threemium draft, right? The funds have to come from somewhere, right? And then if you take a look at the defense, there's a 4.5 mil Dallo, there's James, there's Trent, and there's Walker, right? So we've kind of given up on Cancelo to go for Walker to save that extra 2 mil, right? And that kind of really gives funds to kind of upgrade our midfield to a De Bruyne there, right? So let's take a look at the midfield, right? And there's De Bruyne, there's Ramsey, there's Salah, and there's Neto, right? So the only player I don't like in this midfield is Ramsey, right? I do feel like at 5.5 mil, he is not really worth that kind of a price. We can actually downgrade him to a Leon Bailey, which gives us an extra 5 mil, right? Which we can keep in the bank, right? No issues with that, to kind of account for price rises, right? But no real need to go for Ramsey at 5.5 mil, right? So the rest of the players are fine, right? Salah and Neto are template picks, and I feel like they are good picks as well, right? And up front, Jesus and Kane also template, right? So that's why if you take a look at this premium draft, after we've downgraded Ramsey to Leon Bailey, I actually think this is a really strong premium draft, right? And on the bench as well, we've also got the template bench as well. Neco Williams, Andreas, and Archer, right? So really, if I was going to go for a premium draft, this is actually a draft I would kind of put out there, right? It covers the main defense, the main defensive teams that we want to go for. We have James for Chelsea, we have Liverpool in Trent Alexander-Arnold, and we have City in Walker, right? So that covers everything, and then there's a good attacking outlet in Darlow as well, who can kind of give attacking returns and that odd clean sheet here and there for Manchester United based on their fixtures, right? And then in the midfield, very strong, right? And up front, it's Kane and Jesus, right? So I do like this team, right? And that's why I've given it a rating of 8 out of 10, right? Fantasy Football Hub has given it an incredible rating of 93%, 65 predicted Game Week 1 points, and 490 Game Week 1 to Game Week 8 points, right? So really strong draft. I like it. And basically, if I was going to go for a premium, it's really going to be similar to this draft, right? So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it provided you some insights as to the players and kind of the picks that I prefer, and how to kind of balance your team, right? But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in another one very soon. Bye bye.